Alright, ebusuana nsenya ama ye busy amintumi mba online. Sana ensem bebre sisi wo mechi amenye bi nkan. Sa ensem wo kromu ha amenye bi nkan. Ma ye busy kakra mba online ye kansem gu mechi. Hey! Ebusuana ebi ni NSS scandal a nipa be yese 80,000 ewo NSS National Service Scheme payroll so ayetu amoka but ghost names. Ichira ensamanfo ayetu amoka a omujiska as kan ko obi botom but sankrofo no omunye NSS omunye national service ewo babia at the end of the month he releases scanner na bi ko enkrofo bi botom but ya register enkrofo na de ba ko mehu wo mukura ne se okọ into scandal na abadema yesi enipa bi wo ho a the din appear about 200 times IHS nipa no edin na ye repeat no it has the same index number. Now so okọ school na so be wi a ye ma index number out the be your registration but nipa ba ko ekita the same index number 200 times aden. Anyway, enye no me focus ene. Me focus pa me pesa me na o ka ho asem ye. Me na internet so na me hu say online publishers yi a publish information bi a atwetwe kakra. Na ni nyina ne say former minister for education Dr. Oseyao Educhum the information bi ababontin say enipa a benefit from free SHS and yet over 5 million people, but it's just over 3 million students, and I said 3.5 million students. In himself, during the heat of the campaign, NPP4 at the achievement by the policies near the by say free SHS abuanipa over 5 million people, almost 5.7. Say a one of achievement almost yomenya for free SHS. Now recently encrophobia investigation. A investigation and nobody better about say no, free SHS has not helped over 5.7 million people, but rather free SHS helped just about 3.5 million people. Assembly be debate back and forth. Recently, I was Joy News, the former Minister of Education, Dr. Oseyao Educhum, I confirm and say yes, indeed, free SHS didn't help over 5.7 million people, but rather it helped over 3.5 million people.
Now, as to the exact number of students who benefited, we don't know because there's different figures out there. You are the minister. You were the minister. How many students benefited?
I did a statement on this, but just for the benefit of your audience and yourself, you haven't seen it. The first time this issue came up was through Ministry of Finance. Their accounting for expenditure indicated the number in terms of first year how much they funded, the second year how many students they funded, the third year how many students they funded. So arithmetically, they were looking at how many funding units that they had done from a certain period to a certain period. And that arithmetic is what gave the 5.7 figure coming from the budget reading on the floor of Parliament. Okay. But you should also know that when you are dealing with not the funding units, but you are dealing with beneficiaries, if you are not doing a one-year program, people are benefiting a number of times in order for them to be fully classified as beneficiaries.
Okay.
So if you are counting the funding units and you are saying, okay, in our budget, 2017, we funded 360,000. 2018, we funded 700,000. That is in the budget. Then you go to the third year and say, in the third year, the number increased to, let's say, 1.1 million. So 300, 700, 1.1. This is the total number of funding units.
Okay.
However, when you do that, you are presuming that it's a one-time funding. So if you were dealing with graduate students who are going to university for 1 year, you'll be right.
Okay.
Because you fund them once and they are gone. You fund them once and you don't repeat. But if you do calculation based on a high school program that way, you are literally doing a double counting.
Okay.
Because the student who benefited first year that you funded at 360,000, he's included in your second year
700.
And then the 700 is then included in your third year 1.1. So the best thing to do, instead of adding the 360, the 700, the one, is to take the 1.1.
Okay.
Because that is cumulative.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is what we realized that the Ministry of Finance had done. And in fact, it was even before we saw it, some other CSOs had gone to check because they thought something fishy was taking place. That if you are adding this and adding this and adding, so are you receiving funding for the double counting, or are you receiving funding for the third year number? So when those calculations were done, we realized that the funding in terms of beneficiaries should be based on the third year number, and that you should not be counting the first year and second year, even though it sits on your books. Even though it sits on your books at the finance ministry, that this was the number that you funded, the number that you funded, the number you funded. So you can use that for your calculation. Okay. But it should not define the number in terms of ultimate beneficiaries.
Okay.
So it was this arithmetic error that showed up, that then found expression at the ministry. But quickly, after some time, we called and said, no, something is going on here. So if you look at the numbers, then when we did the reconciliation, that is when we were able to see that, oh, this was an arithmetic error. So even in the 2024 budget, they then listed the numbers breakdown so that everybody will see that it's not as if the education ministry was funded based on this number and the actual number was this. So if you go, the ministry numbers will tell you that there was nothing untoward. It wasn't any situation where somebody was trying to get more money and then say that this were the number of students that were funded. So I think it was some accounting thing, error that happened. And unfortunately, it took us some time to discover that, when at education, we should not be using the numbers as so articulated from the finance ministry.
So from your ministry, what was the number?
3.5.
Oh, 3.5. Oh, so okay. That means that you agree with what our research team put out there, 3.5 million.
But a question I hear is, Dr. Ozeya Odichum, you have this information as a minister for education, and you didn't bring it out during the campaign time. Now, Dr. Ozeya Odichum is one person people really respect very well because of how he conducts himself. When you see his personality, any Ejumana or people see that the man understands his work that he's doing. It is a watana say I'm a party a propagating false information say free education help over 5 million people. Meanwhile, Ono as education minister on himself, free SHS help just over 3 million people. Are in a man of such integrity, one may clarify before election. One may cache na watana siya amaya to a berry na NPP elusu election. And sana wababe clarify say no, free SHS didn't help over 5 million people, but it helped just over 3 million people. According to the information or the buyer, I say in the first year, about 350,000 people were helped. Those people progressed to the second year, they progressed to the third year, and finally they finished. Now, young guys said, when they were progressing to the second year, another batch came. When they progressed to the third year, another batch came. So now they had batch 1, batch 2, batch 3. I free SHS 4. But what you do is, ABR, batches a buyer first year 4. Now the number. Second year, you don't repeat the counting. Third year, you don't repeat the counting. But how they buy and say, when the people leave first year and they go to second year, they are counted again. When they get to the third year, they are counted again. I don't know, over 5 million people say free SHS has helped over 5 million people. God being so good, on Ankasaba out, I'll be explaining. KSTV, remember to like, share, and subscribe for more content.